Okay, this is just a little vid on how to keep your oil furnace running. There's some simple things a homeowner can do to make sure the oil furnace continues to operate. They're really simple things, should be pretty obvious, but they aren't always. The oil furnace requires a complete service every year. If you avoid the service every year, it will get worse and worse. Things will get dirtier and dirtier, and when you do actually service it, it's going to be more expensive. That's not the only thing. There are issues with soot buildup, puff back, which puffs soot all over your house, things like that. Virtually every one of the really nasty problems that happen with oil furnaces can be avoided by the annual service. Now, I'm not trying to sell service. I don't care. I don't even do it anymore. I'm just saying the ones I've seen that were left for 4 or 5 or more years were monsters. And you couldn't depend on them to work even when I was done. There was just too much crap. To contrast that, I worked on people's furnaces that had serviced that furnace every year for 40 years sometimes. And some of those furnaces had virtually no problems at all. They can be an extremely dependable appliance if they're maintained. If they're not maintained, they're kind of a nightmare. Remember, it's a liquid fuel. It has to be turned into a gas before it can burn. So that complicates things. The air-fuel mixture has got to be just right on these things, or other problems can happen. And the oil, there's going to be sludge in oil. There's going to be water in oil. There's going to be other crapola in oil. So replaced oil filters, combustion analysis, new nozzle, things like that are absolutely necessary in these furnaces. Okay, let's start out at the oil tank. Okay, here I have an oil tank. Oil tank contains oil. Do not run the oil tank out of oil. There are 2 ways to keep this thing filled with oil all the time. Number 1 is going to keep filled service from an oil company. They will come out and top the tank as they think it needs to be topped. It's probably the best way. The other one is there's usually a gauge in the top of these tanks. If it's an underground tank, there's some sort of dipstick or something laying around, and you can check the level. If you run it out of oil, what it does, it starts foaming and picking up garbage from the bottom of the barrel, picking up garbage from the top of the oil, because there's actually garbage that floats in the top of the oil, and then there's garbage in the bottom of the tank. And what it's going to do is it's going to suck all that crap in, possibly plug the filter, and possibly plug the nozzle. So every time you run that thing out of oil, you take the chance of having a failure in the burner. And if you want dependable work, you want dependable usage of the furnace, do not run it out of oil. Okay, back to the furnace. Air filters on furnaces need to be changed once a month. That's a homeowner service thing. If you notice anything a little odd, a little bit of oil smell, burned oil smell or something like that, get somebody out and take a look at it. But for the most part, it's very simple. Service the thing before each season and keep the oil tank filled. That's about it. And it'll give you good service. A lot of them give you excellent service. So that's how to keep the oil furnace working.